Welcome, one and all. Welcome to Funkatopia Live. We are going to be hanging out here just a little bit. We got some fantastic guests. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. Going to give you an opportunity to get in here and get settled and whatnot. And we're going to talk about some news. And we just want to make sure. Thank you for reminding me that I've got to mute my phone. It was letting me know that. Started the show. Jeff Page, how are you, sir?
I am doing good. I am ready and rocking right now. So,
yes. Oh man! So do you have a good? You don't see. Obviously, I've got my 14-year-old daughter. She is very happy that she is her last day of school is tomorrow, and they're ready to do summer. They're ready to kick it. That's my youngest, obviously. My oldest is 26, and but man, it's just this period of time when they get into the summer, it's like really awesome.
But today was her official birthday, though, right? Not
today is right. Today is her official birthday. It's Jaden's official birthday.
I was 14 when I was your age, just so you know.
Susie, hello. Laura, hello. Look, all you fine folks. Thank you guys all for joining us. We got a very special show. We got very special guest tonight as well. We got Ozone in the house, and we're going to be talking Parliament Funkadelic. Got Sir Nose is in the house. We're going to be talking some new Ozone album. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. I am so excited to have these two special guests. We do have some news that we're going to be talking about really briefly before we get into it. I know we started a little bit early here, but because the fact we wanted to get the news out of the way. But again, wanted to make sure that everybody knew who was in the house. We got Charles Glenn in the house. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
And a little Ozone action. Never hurt anybody, man. I've got so many questions about Tina Marie and all the stuff that you guys did, open it up in the Manhattans and all that stuff. I mean, it's some really cool stuff. And of course, we got another. I got to figure out where we are. It's like Brady Bunch syndrome. It's like you gotta look up to the side. Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Rodney Trotter's in the house. Sir Nose, Boy Funk.
Also lead singer of Ozone.
Also lead singer of Ozone.
Yes.
Right,
yes.
baby.
Yeah, we're going to be covering all those details. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, if you miss any of this, obviously you can hear it later on Spotify. You can hear it on iHeartRadio and a bunch of different places as well. Krista, hello. Kiaria, hello. Charlotte, what's going on? Susie, Cammie, April, Alfonso Star's in the house. What's going on, brother? Michelle's in the house. Alfonso's ready for Minneapolis, just like we are too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Cammie.
Yeah, we are going to be in Minneapolis from June 1st to June 7th, Jeff Page and myself, for the big Prince celebration that's happening up there. We're going to be talking a little bit about this after the show because we only got these gentlemen for about an hour, but I wanted to do some quick, brief things to talk about before we get into the interview, because we said we would start the interview at 9, so that gives me a little under 5 minutes to talk about the news real quick, and then we'll get to these gentlemen, and then we'll go into a little bit more detail with the news, but not too much more detail because we have a big show on Saturday, which we'll talk about also. Get started here. One happy, one sad. The happy one being is that today is Jaden's birthday. Cammie, I didn't know if you knew this. Cammie is a huge Jaden fan. Just Jaden's birthday today. She turned 14, so we're just celebrating it away. So, be sure to send her some birthday wishes. We'll chat about that later. And on a sad note, we wanted to take just a quick moment to honor the passing of the jazz funk pioneer Bernard Wright, who passed away this past Thursday. He's been sampled many times. From hip hop artists like Dr. Dre and LL Cool J and Dougie Fresh and Snoop Dogg, but he also toured with Tom Brown, doing a little funkin' for Jamaica. And he did that when he was just 16, by the way. And he also was going to be also offered to tour with Lenny White when he was 13. He was offered to tour with Lenny White when he was 13. But Bernard has worked with everybody from Cameo to Marcus Miller and Miles Davis and Pieces of a Dream, along obviously with his own work. A huge loss to the funk world. A lot of people don't know this either, but Roberta Flack was actually his godmother. So, again, huge loss. Bernard Wright passed away on Thursday, May 19th. He was only 58 years old.
Man.
That's just too young.
Yeah, it's way too young.
That's just way too young.
You're already almost there.
Yeah, I know. It's like so close. It's like crazy. Anyways. On the programming side of things for Funkatopia, be sure to tune in this Saturday. So like mere 4 days from right now, if that, right? When is it? Well, 4 days from now. This Saturday, May 28th, for all you Prince fanatics, we're having a very special edition of Funkatopia Live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please remember, it's a special time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Saturday, and we will be talking about all things 2022 Prince celebration. We're going to be talking about the guests. We're going to be talking about the schedule. We're going to talk about the outside events, these newly added details that keep popping up, the whole shebang. So all of your burning questions, you don't want to miss this show. That's this Saturday, May 28th at 7 p.m. Jeff Page and I are going to go over the whole gamut. So a lot of special news that night. And just know, 7 p.m. this Saturday. Were we going to say something, Jeff?
And we may even leak a few places that will definitely be.
Yes.
So, you know.
Yeah, we're going to leak some of our whereabouts. You still going to give out your room number later?
Key numbers. Nah, I'm going to hold all that quiet. Somebody might try to beat it out of me, but I'm going to hide.
You guys can just ask me. I'll tell you where he's at.
I'm sure you will. Thank you.
Lastly, Jeff Page and myself have recorded a brand new show. Some of you saw it pop up. That was not the intention. I was going to be releasing it tomorrow or Thursday, but it's the audio issues that we were having with this new broadcast it's kind of weird, and we're working through all of it. But we got a brand new show called Funkatopia Soundstage. Yeah. And we did our first episode 001. It's very similar to what Funkatopia used to be when I was doing the shows by myself many years ago, 15 or so years ago, when I would do the shows and I would play like all kinds of, different songs from different artists, and it's very similar, but this is a brand new show called Funkatopia Soundstage. Episode 1 is out there. We're going to feature new music from all over the world, signed and unsigned, from all genres of music, everything from bluegrass, country, soul, R&B, funk, whatever. Not just funk, everything. So we'll let you know more about that after the show this evening. But if you go to SoundCloud, it's out there. I think it's also on iHeartRadio. It's also on Apple Music, so it's also already out there. And again, we'll recap all of this at the end of the show with a little more detail on some of this stuff. But for right now, again, we want to make the most of our time, and it's 9 o'clock on the hour. Jeff Page, I will let you do the honors on our special guest here.
Oh, this is awesome because we've got so much raw talent and history right now in this stream. So I don't even think it's possible that we're going to be able to cover everything between Rodney Trotter, Charles Glenn, Ozone history. We're about to get a funk lesson of past, present, and future. So I'm just going to go right into it and start off. The first person I want to mention, and you can see his name, but I'm just going to give you guys, and just so you know, guys, if you want to add to the resume piece and say whatever you want about what you've done, I love when you do your intros. I'm just going to give people a taste of what we got here. First of all, let's back it up. From Parliament Funkadelic, Aqua Boogie, Bop Gun, Motor Booty Affair, Flatline, One Nation Under. I'm telling you, I'm just going to keep throwing these songs out. Lead vocals. His mom was a lead vocals for Duke Ellington, and his dad was a drummer for Charlie Parker. He's produced for many artists, Chico and El DeBarge, Funkadelic, written and produced for Mavis Staples' troupe, General Kane, as a very large list. Ladies and gentlemen, I will give you Sir Nose, devoid of funk, Mr. Rodney Trotter.
How you doing? Glad to be on the show.
Yes, we are glad you are here. If there's anything extra that you wanted to tell people, because we're gonna get into the ozone also, but this is just the other thing. So next, I'm gonna bring up and tell you about originally bassist for rock and roll legend Little Richard. He's also a founding member of Ozone. And first of all, when I say Ozone, let me explain this. They've been around since 1977. They've considered themselves a collective force in music. And as far as I'm concerned, they're one of the greatest bands you didn't know that you knew. All right. They were the backing band
Perfect.
for Sarita, Bobby Nunn, Tina Marie. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. Tina Marie, Behind the Groove, Square Biz. They're combined with Rick and Tina for I Need Your Love and Portuguese Love, Fire and Desire. This band and this person who brought this band together, they released 5 albums in the 80s, 3 within 3 years, right? All 5 just like knocking them out like crazy. And recently they released Return of the Jam-I, which man, that's a good one too. I like it. Gentlemen, I'm going to bring you Mr. Charles Glenn, Charles King Glenn.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm doing good. I'm just here chilling in the studio. Glad to be on this interview. Jeff Page, I really appreciate you and Mr. Christopher. This is awesome, man. This is very awesome.
It's our honor for sure.
I know we're so glad to have you here. We're excited, and the honor's ours completely. It's funny because not knowing you and then realizing that I've known you my entire life, just as just in general loving music and playing. I was a bass player. That was my first instrument.
There you go.
I didn't know it was you that I was listening to, and I was like, "That's what I want to play." You know?
I get that a lot.
So it's been an awesome journey, and to come full circle and to be sitting here with you guys, I'm just very happy. So I want to ask you guys some questions, probably bounce back and forth between you, and feel free to chime in whenever you have the moment of, I got to say something. We're not holding you back. You can speak, say whatever you want. And if I misquote something or say something wrong, correct me. I'm good with it. We can only go by what we know. And to me, as far as I'm concerned tonight, I'd like to get out whatever we need to get out that has been not understood and what's already known. You guys can talk about whatever you want. So let's start off with Rodney. Actually, I mentioned earlier your mother being a lead vocalist for Duke Ellington, and as young as you must have been, and knowing how important it was for her to have you guys with her, you guys had to have been on the road, pretty often. And so I've always been thinking about how often did you get to be around the big names, and what was it like being such a youngster at that time? What was that like?
Well, had opportunity to be around a lot of the great legends of the jazz world, from Jimmy Smith, Jack McDuff, Buddy Rich, Don Ellis, even to the point of Nat King Cole. We traveled a lot because my mom, we was a pretty big family, and my mom didn't allow us to stay with her in-laws or stay with our grandmothers and stuff like that, because she always wanted hands-on with her kids. So from that, we when she went out on tour, or when she went up to play in the Milwaukee, Chicago, New Orleans, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, we just roamed from that whole situation, man. I mean, and kept the family together, kept us together, as well as, had me rub against a lot of, powerful people. And it was amazing. It was really amazing. The whole situation was a big experience. A lot of times I woke up under the piano a lot of times. So it was all cool.
If there's ever a place and time to learn about work ethics, I think you covered it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a thing, you know. I mean, my mom and dad also own nightclubs as well in the Indianapolis, Indiana. We owned the Carousel Lounge, and ended up being the Chateau de County, where you had a lot of the jazz musicians and comedians. I mean, Red Fox, a lot of your black artists. Had a chance to, bless the stage with their talents. And before these people were huge stars, they was just jazz musicians and friends of my mom's and dad, so, and as they came in, we'll come in and bump into them, or, just wake up at night. One time I woke up and, bumped into, a gentleman in the bathroom, happened to be Sammy Davis Jr. So it was one of the things that, the household was always live. The living room was always live. You had Buddy Rich and Max Roach, they going at it together, things like that, with my dad, and everybody's in there talking, and they talking shop. We didn't understand it. We didn't know what was happening. All we know is that we had a live household. That's about it.
Okay. Oh, wow, man.
Yeah.
So I really want to get right into the meat of something that in my mind is always the elephant in the room, wherever Rodney Trotter goes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll move on and ask Charles a couple of questions. But I love Parliament Funkadelic. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the world is a better place because of B-Funk. But there's always been this constantly an issue of who and when is Rodney Trotter, and who's Sir Knows, and all the different, because there've been variations.
A lot of different inside.
I want to clear this up. The who is the Sir Knows debacle. You've been there, and people don't understand exactly where you fell in. And so I'd like you to talk about where you fell into place with Funk Parliament.
Well, I fell into place with Parliament. I mean, within the Westbound days and within the Casablanca days. Billy Bates Nelson, Tiki Fullwood, and myself knew each other, back in Detroit. A lot of times we kicked and ran, and we kicked and hung and did the things, that was there. A lot of times, you get people where they become silent partners within a situation. Well, Billy Bass and myself, Billy is like my brother. He's like, brother from another mother. But, our blood range in the Funkadelic world is we are Funkadelic. We have Billy Bass was the one who actually created the name Funkadelic for Parliament Funkadelic. He was the actual lead singer for Funkadelic. Him and him and Eddie Hazel. I'm sorry, because Funkadelic was the actual band, and Funkadelic was Tao Ross, Bernie Worrell, Billy Bass, Eddie Hazel, and Tiki Fullwood. That basically head up the actual group Funkadelic. Parliament is the actual vocal group, which was a 5-man vocal group, which was George Grady, Fuzzy Haskins, and Ray Davis, and Calvin. They was the actual guys who were Parliament, because Parliament wanted to be a singing group, such as like the Temptations. But the bottom line, in Plainsfield, New Jersey, the merger came with Billy Bass, hanging out at the barbershop a lot. I knew Billy directly, and our families, knew each other strongly. I didn't actually connect with Funkadelic in Parliament, stay together as Parliament Funkadelic until the days of Casablanca Records, which at the time Cecil Holmes was starting an actual label called Chocolate City Records on Casablanca. And in the process of doing that at the time, Billy Bass, Eddie Hazel, Tiki Forward, and all them we created a unit called Rodney Trotter's Egypt, which we created Space Nigga and a lot of stuff, Jack Potter and the Cosmic Chip, Las Vegas Politics, things of that nature, that led us to Casablanca in California through Joel Busby, who basically was a good friend of Robert Byrd at the time, Donald Byrd's nephew, and Dennis Thomas were cool in the game that was management at the time. And our concepts of what Funkadelic and what Parliament was doing at the time, our concepts were so close that Gerald felt that, you know, and we was both going on to the same label. We was both Robert Byrd and Dennis Thomas was soliciting me to Neil Bogart for the Casablanca label. And Cecil Holmes had a subsidiary label called the Chocolate City Records that was with Casablanca. It was on Casablanca as well. So they didn't have, at the time, they had, Cecil had Cameo, group called Platypus that was going. Then it was Parliament, and along with Donna Summers, Kiss, Cher, Village People. All these people was there. So it was one of the things where Gerald was my liaison into the actual Casablanca world. And he said, well, Rodney and him and Cecil was going at it because Winnie Roker and all of them, all the heads was at it, was saying, hey, man, you know, these two groups are so close because I had Funkadelic in my group. I had Funkadelic along with the LTD horn players, who was my horn players at the time, with Jake Riley and Onion Miller, as well as jazz saxophone player by the name of Gary Arts. And it was, I mean, I had a star-studded, you know, unit, and it was one of the things that at this time, you know, Funkadelic wasn't at Casablanca. Funkadelic was you know, was still over there at Westbound and was still doing stuff over there. And George was trying to push, you know, the whole act of Parliament there at Casablanca. So it ended where, you know, that's how George and I came together, through Gerald Busby bringing us together. And George was, you know, kind of you know, he was kind of a, you know, powerhouse at the time. He who has the gold sets the rules. So it was one of the things where they ended up, you know, merging me a little bit with the situation with Casablanca by putting me on a subsidiary, a label that was given to Wally Roker and Groucho Marx's son at the time. They gave them, you know, an actual label called Greedy Records, and we ended up, they put me on Greedy, and they put Parliament on Chocolate City in Casablanca. From that stage, it was one of the things where, at the time, Funkadelic, the actual group who dispersed from George at that time, was playing with me. And that's how we ended up infusing that situation. George asked us to come over. When I started going over to, you know, and my records started going out, they kind of was giving me a shelving period, you know, because, you know, again, Parliament was Cecil Holmes' group. So through the whole situation of from Chocolate City, from Up for the Downstroke, and then going into Funkatopia and stuff like that, Billy Bass and myself, I mean, with the song Placebo Syndrome, was actually written by Billy Bass. That was one of Billy Bass' songs. George put a lot of character concepts that I had for that I had for each, and for the things that I was going to do. Those things there. Those things, you know, with one movement. I can say that it was a lot that was kind of taken from me, but it was also a lot that was given to me. And then the process that you know, we moved on, you know, we was, you know, steady recording. I ended up with Doja Holland as one of their main producers, where I went back in and redid the Osmium album, because the Osmium album was actually on and George Carlin. They wanted
A lot.
to went over with
Yeah,
the
Rodney,
yeah.
you're breaking up. You're breaking up quite a bit, Rodney.
Uh,
I thought it would recover, but it's breaking up a little bit. But I do find it interesting that I mean, first off, the history is blowing my mind, and I love the fact that you brought up a friend. He's actually a friend, and I've had him on the show a couple times before. Lamont Dozier.
yes, great.
And let me tell you that man is a. I mean, he was one of the core writers of Motown, and he's like one of these guys that's just a legendary songwriting figure. I had no idea that you actually had connected with Lamont. That's incredible.
Over with Doja Holland for almost like 15 years. Did a
Wow.
lot of the writing and producing over there with a lot of their different acts. I started Shantytown Records with Edward Holland for Ronnie Laws and myself to do our albums. My group Q&A was basically over there with them as well.
So to answer, I mean, I know the one piece of the question is, were you I guess, and this is kind of, I don't know all the history, because George and Parliament Funkadelic always had so many moving parts. There were members in, there were members out.
Like 64 to 65 people.
It's insane. Where were you the first Cernos, or where were you in the timeline of Cernos? We know there's probably been about, I don't even, I can count 6 off the top of my head that have played the part.
There was, first one was Larry Hicks, which
Right.
was the original. It was the first Cernos. He was the dancer. He never, you know, did any of the records. He was pretty much for the stage.
Right.
As we was doing that, I was going to be the Cernos of Rodney Trotter. I was the actual originator of the 3D glasses and the, you know, with the third eye glasses, the white 3D glasses that you see. I one who designed those, and actually through Perry Ellis, who actually was the person who actually made them for me. They was the ones who actually developed them. So the concept was always in dispute. You had Overton Lord and George drawing the images and that nature, which, you know, I mean, a lot of that stuff was already in concept with myself. But, you know, I just never did contest it, never did try to go at it, never, because again, at the time, it was a lot of political stuff that was going on. Mm-hmm. So
George seems to be a magnet for all that stuff. So,
you know, and I want to get to, you know,
I know.
All right.
I'm just trying to be as transparent, truthful as I can be within the delivery of everything, without trying to ruffle any feathers that again, or take any glory away from anyone. You see, the bottom line is George Clinton was at the time was the maggot overlord of everything that was being done with that situation. But then again, there was greater musicians and greater people that was there that was actually contributing, that wasn't getting their props. Even to this day, there's people that only right now it's all George Clinton. You know, you don't, and then you might look at Bootsy, and they came in later on down the line. Yep. But you got Billy Bass, Mike Hampton. You know, you got Ray Davis and all the vocals and people that was back there actually singing and the groups that was playing and the people from Boogie Monson and everybody else that
Bernie
was back
Wardell.
there. Yeah, the Bernie and everybody else that was back there jamming, which everybody was supposed to get their own solo album. Bernie got his, All the Woo in the World. Eddie got his, that was Games and Things. But then again, Billy was supposed to get his. I was supposed to get one. I mean, it's a lot of different things going, but I was always pretty much just, in control of my destiny. So I stepped out on my own and stepped away from the whole situation, retained Cernos and retained what I was doing with that whole situation. Even when we were supposed to come back with Hollywood Records, and when they had us over at Disney, and we were supposed to do the double album and things like that with Disney, and we did the Rome, New York shows. I had like 5 or 6 songs on the new Funkadelic double album for Disney, with and for the Parliament as well, with Stick and Five, a whole bunch of songs. So I was pretty much a ghost man. I didn't have no problem being because it allowed me to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and I think that kind of happens a lot of the case with, I mean, there's like endless stories, and we could do a whole entire show on George and some of the stuff that goes on. I mean, there's a lot of, I love George. I've been following Parliament Funkadelic for, as far back as I can remember. But, I guess even when I was a fan back in the late 70s and even throughout the 80s, I never really knew any of the politics.
George went back further than that. They was back.
I know.
They was back in the 50s.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is that when I was a fan during that period of time, I was not aware of some of the politics and everything that was going on. But before we get a little bit more into that, I want to make sure that we spend a little bit of time with Charles here to talk about the amazing, so underappreciated Ozone, and then I want to talk about how you two got together, and I want to talk about this because I know we got limited time, so I want to make sure that we kind of get to this. But Charles, thank you for first off, thank you for both of you for being here. It really is like having a masterclass in funk right here, man. I mean, it's insane. Between you and Rodney, it's like it's just mind blown. Like it's to cram all of this in an hour is just impossible. It's just because there's so much to cover. I mean, I could sit and talk to Rodney for hours and hours and hours about with just some of the history and stuff, especially now that I'm aware that he's involved in all this stuff with Lamont Dozier and all that. It's crazy. But Charles,
yes,
we could talk a little bit about, I know Jeff Page, we had some questions lined up about, Deliverance, your early band when you were really, really young and stuff like that. But we want to I want to go, I don't want to get too far deep, but I want to talk about Ozone and just how Ozone got together as, and just some, other random questions. But, one of the things that's interesting, and I'll let people in on this, is that your first band, you were, I guess, around 12 years old, and you had like a bunch of other kids that were, I think the oldest member of the band was like 15 or something.
Yes, I'm John Green.
and you had a band called Deliverance, and if I remember correctly from seeing past interviews and stuff, was that your drummer was the manager. The drummer's father was a manager of the Manhattans. Yes. And so that's kind of how you guys got. Yes. That's how you guys kind of got moving forward and kind of really just went off. But there's so much interesting stories there, and I would love to recap some of those. But I really want to talk about Ozone here because a lot of people remember the band Ozone from the 80s. And I want to talk a little bit about how that band got together and how that kind of came to fruition.
Okay. Well, we're from Nashville, Tennessee, and I came out here to Los Angeles at first with a group called the Endeavors. Okay, and the Endeavors were like one of the top groups in Nashville at the time. Doing clubs and that kind of thing. And they had a Winnebago accident, and the bass player got killed, and a couple other guys got burned up really bad and stuff like that. And I remember being about 15 years old, and I'm listening to the radio, and I hear this tragic thing happen. And I noticed they lost the bass player, which was kind of like one of the main guys in the group, because he was their lead singer and everything. When I heard the news, it was very sad for me, but for some reason, I was like, I think they're going to need a bass player. And I just happened to know one of the guys in that band because he was dating the girl that lived across the street from my house, and I would see him over there. And so I went and pitched him about playing in their group, and he was like, "Man, you're a kid. You're 15. We are like 35 and 37." And I said, "I know, but you don't understand. It's different. I'm not the 15 you think I am, right?" And so, I kept pitching him. And one day I saw him over there, and he said, "Hey, Charles, I talked to those guys. They want me to bring you by." And I actually went and auditioned for those guys, and I got the gig. And so I performed with them in Nashville for my last 2 years in high school. And the day after I graduated, they had already moved to Los Angeles because, we were going to make bigger moves. And so I moved to Los Angeles the next morning after I graduated from high school. I partied that night. I was on the plane the next morning with big sunglasses on, going to Hollywood. I was ready to go. So that was pretty fun. I get out here, and the group, we wasn't as successful here as we were in Nashville. For one, it wasn't as many clubs to play at like we were doing in Nashville. First of all, we wasn't just playing in Nashville. We were in Nashville one night, Kentucky another night, Ohio one night, Knoxville, Chattanooga, Atlanta. So we were moving like that, and you could move like that in the South. Out here, it was Los Angeles, and it was just all in LA. You had six to seven clubs in LA. You could play at the Pied Piper, Maverick Flax, 20 grand. It was a few of them, right? And these guys, like, it was all fun for me. I was 17 years old, so this was a big deal for me. For those guys, they were 35 with wives and children. And it was a downer for those guys because we weren't really making a lot of money. So they decided to break up and let's go back and move back to Nashville and try that again. Well, for me, that was a horrible move. I did it, but that was terrible. And I got with the guitar player and the keyboard player, Jimmy and Benny Wallace. And I said, man, we got to put another band back together because we have to go back to LA. This is not happening. And so I went around town with Benny and myself, and I knew the clubs where all the hot musicians were. So I go to this one club, and there was T and Ray, who was two of the horn players. They were playing in the same club. And then I went to this other club where I knew Billy White was performing at, and he was a percussionist and saxophone player and had the really high voice singing, amazing singer and stuff. We recruited him, and then we picked up the guitar player that was the 15-year-old guy in Deliverance. His name was John Green. We picked him up. He was our guitarist, and he had just met Paul Hines, who ended up being our drummer, at a club he was playing at, and Paul was just in Nashville hanging out, playing gigs, and because Paul's from Indiana. And shoot, man, we put that group together, and in 1 week we rehearsed, had a club owner allow us to use his club to do one show so we could get enough money together to get to LA. And we played for the door. We said we'll play for the door. It doesn't matter. Just advertise. We got it advertised on the radio that all of these different groups from Nashville had put together and made a group. And we actually wasn't called Ozone. We were called Blaze. Yes. And within this week, we had this lady make us uniforms that had fire on, because we were Blaze. So we had these uniforms with all this fire on it and stuff. So we do this concert at a club. The club was packed, even though we thought it was going to be a disaster because the day of that concert, it rained it was the hardest rain ever. And we were working for the door, and we was like, oh man, this is going to be a disaster. So we did our little sound check, and after we did the sound check, we were so excited to be together and play together and learn each other that we went in the dressing room after the sound check, and we never came back out to look and see what kind of crowd we had or any of that. We just sat in there and told stories and started talking and all of this stuff, right? So I'm going to go back a little bit because the first day of rehearsal, our very first song we played, we looked around the room and everybody said, okay, so what song can we play that everybody knows? So just so we can get one off, right? It ended up being Do That Stuff by Parliament, right? So that's all ties into today, actually.
You're right.
But we do that stuff. And when we ended it, everybody looked around the room and we knew we had one of the hottest bands. I mean, we were on fire. That was a no rehearse, no nothing. That was a count it off. Let's play it, see what happens. And it was like we had been playing it all together for, like we had been together for 10 years. It was crazy.
That's always
so
good.
So anyway, we go back to this one night at this concert that we need to make this money so we can rent a U-Haul and, get gas and all the stuff we were going to need to go to LA because I knew the manager that was trying to help the Endeavors. And so I had let him know I was going to put a band together and we were coming back. And, he was all for it. Okay, long as the band is good or whatever. So we did the show. It was, like I say, we ended up all in the dressing room hanging out after sound check. We never came out of the dressing room. We just knew it was going to be failure. So we were just going to have a good time because of the rain. And so after sitting in the dressing room, probably 2.5, 3 hours, guy comes back and say, hey, man, it's time to start the shows. You guys need to get it together because it's time for the show to start. So we said, okay, let's go on and do this, get this over with, and we'll figure out what we're going to do after that, right? Well, we come out on stage, we get dressed, we come out on stage, and the club is packed beyond packed like no other. I mean, it's people on top of people in this club.
It's nice.
Yes.
It's always good.
Unbelievable packed.
Oh, that's good. And what was the reasoning for that? I mean, what was the source of them?
Because of the advertisement. Well, it was advertised that this group had met with this group, that had met with this group, that had got with these guys that were that were Endeavors, right? And that actually turned out to be a really big thing on the radio.
All right, so let's fast forward just for a second and tell me a little bit about this.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, from that club to Soul Train, yes. You know what? That was a real exciting time in our career. Because being on Soul Train was a really, really big deal. Now the cool thing about us being on Soul Train is we did a song called Lil Susie, which was like a new wave song. And because Motown allowed, we were such a broad band that could do any kind of music, right? That we wanted to do something different. And I was a major Devo fan, right? I was a big
that was
Devo fan.
very obvious that you guys were
Yes.
Devo.
So I came up with this. I came up with this vibe about this, this little Susie groove, and shoot, man, we did it. And Motown was like, "Wow, this is incredible, right? This is a single." And they went with it. And we had the Ozone glasses that they had made up. We went on this thing, all of our interviews and stuff. We wouldn't take the glasses off. On Soul Train, we would wear the glasses, and they wasn't supposed to come off. It was a concept of you wasn't supposed to see our eyes, right?
Right.
You would never see Ozone eyes. Well, Benny Wallace, the guitar player, he messed that up the first day we tried it, because on Soul Train, I don't know if you noticed, but he kept doing this move where he kept throwing his head down, right? And I could see his glasses starting to fall like that. I'm looking at him like, boy, I bet your glasses, because he always did get that kind of attention, right? I said, man, your glasses better not fall off. And I'd be damn, bam, they hit the ground. And he was the only one on the whole Soul Train with no glasses.
So, one of the things I got to tell you is that, I was listening, I was just going through listening to some of the stuff that you guys had done, and specifically the work that you guys had done with Tina Marie, and a lot of people don't, there's Stone City Band obviously was involved with a lot of stuff, but Ozone really gave Tina Marie a certain sound.
Right.
We gave Tina Marie her sound. Because Tina doesn't sound like Rick James.
Right.
Her first song sounded like Rick James, but nothing else does.
Right, and a lot of people don't know this, but you have an album. If you guys haven't heard, it's on Spotify. You can look it up, Ozone. Unfortunately, there's a couple other bands named Ozone now. There's a boy band and like another Asian band. But if you go back,
I think if you put Ozone Funk Band, that'll get rid of the others.
Yeah, they had but you guys had an album. I think it was 1981. Send It. And,
yes.
And it had a song on there that was, it wasn't like a huge mass hit for the top 40 hit, but a song called Jiggalette. Yeah. And it featured Tina Marie on it. And that first off, let me just say, listening to Send It, you guys are absolutely focusing on it. You could tell that Earth, Wind, and Fire was a massive influence with you guys.
Yeah.
Just from all the intricate horn sections that you guys would do, so I want to talk a little bit about Tina Marie, but I also want to talk about who was doing the vocals on Do What You Wanna. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who obviously was a huge Philip Bailey fan.
Yeah.
He was hitting all those notes. So
that's Billy White.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about working with Tina Marie, and then I want to shift from that over to how you two got involved and what's going on with Ozone right now, so we don't run out of time for all this stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, Tina was sent to the Ozone house, and I didn't know this until maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was sitting with Miss Gordy, Iris Gordy, and she said, "Oh, like that time when we sent Tina to be our lead singer," and I was like, "What?" And so Tina Marie was sent to the Ozone house to, to write some songs together. Let's just see what happens. It was kind of, let's see what happens, right?
Right.
And because she was definitely, like I say, trying to get away from the Rick thing, as far as, sounding like Rick, that whole thing. She did want her own sound. But actually, that's not why she was sent to the house. She was sent to the house to see if she would be the perfect singer for Ozone as far as the lead singer. They were going to put us together, yes. And so when she came, I had this groove I came up with. I started playing this bass line, and then Paul Hines, the drummer, he came in. And then, we came up with this little groove. And the first thing comes out of Tina's mouth, "Damn, that groove is funky. Shit, it sounds like it's behind the groove, right?" and that ended up being that song.
Well, now
And
were
that was
you
the
aware?
first thing that we played.
Now, were you aware that they were working, trying to get Tina Marie into a possible lead vocal position?
No,
Were you
we
aware
had
of
no
that?
idea.
You had no
We
idea.
just thought we were just like I said, gonna just chill and maybe see what we could come up with together.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's worse lead vocalists that you could be strapped with than
Yeah,
Tina
exactly.
Marie. It's like you can't. I mean, that's Tina Marie. So let's talk about because, and I know it's just so much to cover. I could talk to you guys for hours, but I want to be respectful of your time. I know there's a game is about to be on.
It's already doing its thing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
no
already
big
doing
deal.
this thing, but it's okay. But I want to talk about how you and Rodney got together and how that connection. I don't know if Rodney, if you want to take this, how did you meet Charles?
Well, I met Charles. We was doing a show at BB King's in Universal Studios, and Ozone was on the show, and I was doing my Q&A with Holland Dozier Holland. I was signed to Holland Dozier Holland at that time, and I was doing my Q&A show / Sir Knows. And it was one of the things where we was in the dressing room, and Charles said, "Oh man, he said, should we? How we gonna end the night?" And I said, "Well, let's go out together." I said, "Let's go out together." And I said, "Let's do Flashlight together." And Charles said, "Oh, cool. We know that. So we ended the show doing Flash.
That shit
And
was crazy.
Charles and I've been together ever since. When we rocked that sucker so hard,
We rocked it
people
hard.
just lost their mind, because I came out, I came out as Sir Knows, for that particular time, and came out and people just went crazy. So, Charles and I said, "Well, man, we got to get together. We got to keep this rolling." So it was a gentleman by the name of Burns Lectors who worked with me when I was building stuff with Sly Stone and over there with my boy Johnny Guitar Watson. And he was, saying, "Hey, man, Charles Glenn called me. He was in Germany. He said, Charles Glenn calls me, man. He wants you to work with you, man." I said, "Well, yeah, I worked with Charles before," and I was in Atlanta at the time. And I said, "Yeah, I worked with Charles before," and he said, "Yeah, man, he's looking for a lead singer for Ozone." So I said, "Well, tell Charles to give me a call." So Charles gave me a call. He got us on the phone, and we kind of reminisced together. And I said, "Hey, man, when do you want me there?" And he said, "If you can be here within next month," because he had a big show that was going to be done for the Hearts Festival for the people who got shot up down there in San Bernardino, and they was doing a big, festival for them, for the families. And I told him to send me the set list. He sent me the set list. I flew into Atlanta, and I ain't never been back to Atlanta since.
I tell you, Charles, you just can't help yourself, can you? You're like this producer that just like he's always got to be like, this is the best person for this. This is the best
Yes,
person.
I
for
am.
this. You just can't help yourself.
Hey, somebody's
I can't.
this together, right?
Yeah. Jeff Page, did you have that clip of the track now of the new track from Ozone?
Actually, let me get it. Give me a second,
because there now again, if you guys want to find some information on Ozone on Spotify, they're on Spotify. You can find that there's a lot of albums on there. And I guess Charles, I'll ask you really, really quick since we're talking here about Ozone. There was a really, really distinct difference of style between, I guess, 1981. I mean, just all the different albums, especially 1980. What was the album in 1983? It was like,
Strut My Thing album.
There was just a lot of there was
Glasses.
Glasses. That was very, very different feel to that album for sure.
Yeah, we kind of changed and went kind of rock a little bit, and you know, we were all Journey fans, and the group got younger too. I actually another one of my producing moves, and I went out and got Derek Oregon on drums and Darren Durst. Yeah, I went. I always did that. I don't know. I don't know where I got that from. I really don't.
Yeah, well, it's just like
I'm
it's
pretty
like
pushy.
it's like a never-ending desire to try to put together the perfect supergroup. It's just like, all
Yes.
right, well, it's like
Yeah.
like you were an engineer in your past life. It's like, I'll put this piece
You
here.
know what? I am so blown away with that you through your research, you thought that, man. That blows me away.
Uh,
That is so true.
but there, I mean, I still can't get over. I just can't get over the one album with that had Tina Marie on it. That album I can't understand why that album did not blow up, because there's not a weak song on the album. Everything is strong from every single song is just so strong. What do you think it was with that? Was
Well, I can
it
tell you,
marketing or?
yeah. Well, what actually happened with Ozone and their popularity is that we were, once again, I hate to keep saying this, but we were such a great band that could play any kind of music, right? Once Motown got a wind of that, that's who we were. They started making us. They start putting us with situations that, believe it or not, you couldn't turn them down. You couldn't turn down those situations. For instance, they put us with Billy Preston, right? Billy Preston is the fifth Beatle. Who says no to that, right? Who's going to say no to that, right?
No.
So
Yeah.
what happened is, as opposed to us being able to be on tour with Gap Band, Lakeside, Zapp, Morris Day, these guys, we're opening up the show for Sammy Davis Jr.
That's a weird mix.
Exactly. Ozone, Billy Preston, who we also played with,
That would be
and
bad.
then
Though.
Sammy Davis Jr. came out and did 2 hours. We did 2 years of that. That was the main part of our promotional careers when that happened, right? So our records was, because Motown did promote the record enough for everybody to kind of know who it is, or to know who it is. The songs were catchy enough to catch on, right? They all made it in the top 40s, you know, all the way up to top 10, one of something like that, right? Jiggalette, I believe. But the thing is that we never got to go out and show who we are, who we were. We never got to do the Funk Fest and the Funk tours, and we didn't get to do that. We were in France doing some amazing concert for some billionaires. You know what I'm saying? That you know. Hey, and if our manager would give us the choice, he would always say, hey, guys, here's the thing. We could go and we could do shows with Lakeside and Gap Band on the Funk Tour, right? Or we could go and open up for Sammy Davis Jr., you know, who right now, you know, at the time, Sammy Davis Jr. was, you know, come on, man. I mean,
yeah, but he wasn't funk.
Dude, I'm hanging out with Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and these guys on a nightly basis. You know.
There's stories. I'm sure there's stories there.
I'm 18. I'm 18 with I'm 18, God. 19 years old with new wave hair. Look at with Sammy Davis coming up to me going, "We got to do something about that hair, son." Right? I'm hanging out with
that coming from
on a
Sammy.
nightly basis. Yeah, Don Rickles. I'm hanging out with Don Rickles and these kind of people, man. It was a
amazing.
no. Yeah, exactly. It was a no-brainer as far as which option to go with, right? And like I said, we did some of the biggest shows. I've been to places that probably Jay-Z and Beyonce can't even go to. You know what I'm saying? Because these people were, you know, this is special stuff. First of all, I was with the fifth Beatle. That guy was ridiculously huge than we can imagine. Okay. So anyway.
Well, I mean, you had. I mean, you automatically have some amazing stories. But on the same note, the question that I would ask is, you know, what do you think about that in hindsight? Do you like think, damn it, if we had gone on tour with Lakeside and Ohio
It's
players and
killing
all
me
that
now.
stuff? I mean, so you kind of look back and go like, that was great. There was some serious memories there,
Yeah.
but I think from a career path, we
Yes.
probably should have stuck to it. Yeah.
Well, and we're doing shows now with Zap and Lakeside and these guys now, Climax and all these groups, right? Because our song is what it is, so which puts us in that market. So we don't have a problem doing that. Now I think I got Rodney Trotter with me, and the rest of my band is amazing, right? And we kind of have a problem sometimes because we blow your ass off the stage with
Oh my
because
God.
a lot of groups will go out there and let's just get this money and get out of here, and we go out there with intent
Put on.
to funk you up.
To echo on to that. We did a show in Gary, Indiana,
Yep.
where I landed the mothership. Again, it was one of the things where Larry Blackman, the Barcades,
Wow.
all of them was on the show with us. And oh man, Rodney, how you gonna sit up here and land the mothership and say you land the mother, you boom, boom, boom. Gave me all kind of hell. Called George up. George sit up there and said, y'all just better watch out, baby. Because if he dropped that motherfucker, y'all gonna have problems. So we ended up doing that. George called us and heard about it. Called me up. We was in the studio recording the new Return of the Gemini album, and George called us up. Man, I heard y'all killed him up there in Gary, and we got to get together because George Clinton and myself has no problem. It's just a lot of people who just don't understand who we are, the connection between George and myself, a lot of people basically, or, that speaks illy about the situation, or people who, or like, should I say, or should I say, or like, the top 40 members. The ones who who ain't never been on the records, ain't never even known about the records. They're not even old enough to even sit up there and criticize. But
Right.
because they don't know the history of things. But the main thing about it is that we're musicians, we're strong players, we're strong innovators.
Yeah.
We are the ones who help, kind of paint the picture for the music industry. So we move forward. We continue to do what we got to do.
Oh yeah.
And even like the shows that we're doing now, a lot of the stuff that we're doing, we still work with a lot of the big, the A crowd. But we also, again, are masters of our own destiny. We
Yeah.
also
We do a lot of
create
wrong stuff.
Ballers Walk Tour, which we're doing for our new single, where we have our own sponsors and own major people behind us. We're something close to like Earth, Wind, and Fire. You don't hear Earth, Wind, and Fire doing nothing with no one but Earth, Wind, and Fire. And if they start jumping off and doing some other things like with groups like Chicago or Santana, they're special stuff. You see,
Right.
and that's what we specialize in, and that's what we move forward in.
Now, we're
So
so
Yeah.
glad that
We
you guys are
we
doing
are
it.
we are Motown trained, and so
yeah,
Motown definitely believed in, being able to handle your own, you know what I mean? We don't have to piggyback off nothing, nobody or any of that, you know what I mean? And when we do our show, we do Ozone songs, we do Parliament songs, we do Tina Marie, songs. I got Patricia Sullivan is one of our female singer, and man, she's killing that Tina Marie. I
really,
mean,
really
yeah,
could a lot more other groups such as General Kane. I was the lead singer for General Kane.
right, exactly.
all the stuff with Crack Kill Applejack, Hairdos, all the stuff that was with the Girls album, along with people like people that sitting over like Kevin Goins that was with the group Quasar. He was basically with General Kane.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, it can just go on. Even when it deals with El DeBarge and Chico DeBarge.
Yeah, El
I
DeBarge,
wrote and produced Chico's top single on and for his top album, Kiss Serious, for Motown. Did
And
all the In the Storm stuff with El DeBarge and stuff. Matter of fact, I was one who orchestrated the actual switch movement to Motown. It wasn't Jermaine Jackson.
All right. No, that was the Diana Ross. That was the Diana Ross move thing there.
Yeah, one of those
with
moves.
Jermaine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you know, half of Ozone. We did DeBarge the whole first tour. That was Ozone backing DeBarge up.
That's right.
Jeff
Long.
Nice.
You know, what was driving me crazy this whole time is just listening to you drop names like Billy Preston. and what really blew my mind tonight, and I think it was Rodney that brought it up. The fact that you brought these guys up is amazing to me.
There you go. You go. See, this is what I'm saying. A lot of people don't understand. There was a lot of funk going on. We was doing
There's a lot of funk. Yeah, that's right.
It was a lot
right there.
Over there. Well, you got to understand, people like The Deal and Babyface and Kenny Evans and L.A. Reid. Those are all guys that was in my family and that worked with us. My cousin Chucky Bush and Manchild was out of Indianapolis, Indiana. We all grew up together. Yeah. And so, you know, that whole movement that came in, and even when we was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, you know, it was Al Green, El DeBarge, Bobby DeBarge, Greg Williams, all of us, the Nightlighters, who turned into be Cameo. You see what I'm saying?
Yep,
the People's
absolutely.
Choice, you know, and all of these guys, man, we was all back there together. We was all back there grooving and making things happen. So, you know, as we, you know, grew up, and I was one of the first ones who actually left out of Michigan with the Motown family and everyone, and, you know, started, you know, heading on down, because at the time I was being managed by Kool and the Gang, and that's when they was doing Music is a Message and Who's Gonna Take the Weight and all of that stuff, you see? Yeah. So, I mean, it's been years and years and years of collaboration as well as funkalization with the different people that, you know, we grew up with.
Man, you are tied to so many. I mean, both of you guys are tied to so many legends. I had Lamont Dozier on this show. I've had Robert Cool Bell on the show. Yeah. It's just amazing to be connected to. I mean, and like you said, there's so many funk bands that were out there in that time that were just totally ignored. I mean, people slept on Ozone. I mean, people slept on Ozone. People slept on Platypus. People slept on. There's so many bands that got slept on.
Yeah, well, that's why we, Charles and myself, are coming back with, you know, with the newer stuff, and we you know, trying to push it back in, because the music industry right now needs real music. It needs real bands. Really and Silk Sonic is not the only one that's there, baby. They, you know, they bid into us many a day.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and I'm glad they were there, because some of those tracks, like 777, and some was like, oh my God, it's back, it's coming back.
But they gotta allow us to, you know, be able to research.
We have to have a platform, though. They got to give us somewhere for it to be heard and played.
Right.
You know, and it's only fair to the generation of people that, you know, that came from that are still around, that will, you know, love to hear new versions of that. And you can't tell me that that's not a fact. It has to be.
Right.
It's at the core. Everything that's on the radio right now that is really like slamming. A lot of it's attached to Bruno Mars, but that sound, that funk sound, is back in. It's you know, it's just.
It is.
It's just back end, but people are not putting the pieces together. And I'm so glad that you guys are getting together. You have the brand new track out, Ballers Walk, brand new single out. And which one of you wants to tell me a little bit about the live album that you guys have? Is it out now or is it coming out?
Yeah. Yes, it is. We did this. We did a show and out here in at a theater in California, and we filmed it. And it's a great show. I think it's about 55 minutes long. Hour. It's an hour show, and it's good.
Is it new music and old music, or what's
new music and old music? Yeah.
Funk Generation of
a ballad called Realize.
Realize is on there, which is from which is going to be from the new album. Those two songs, but then again, we hit a lot that was on the actual Ozone show that we do that deals with Tina Marie, deals with Strut My Thing.
We do Square Biz and all of
She's Just a Groupie stuff we did.
She's Just a Groupie. We did Bobby Nunn. Yep.
Thing that is there. So it's some great songs.
Fire.
And funky is there.
It's straight fire.
Man. We got Charles. You doing your bass solo live?
Yeah, I got the bass solo on there.
For your bass solos, man.
Yeah, stupid. You pick that up and listen to that. Yeah, he's doing some real crazy stuff on that.
It makes no sense.
Yes, I'm first off, again, I can't say enough how honored we are to have you on the show. I know, Rodney, you've got a room full of friends and family that are waiting for you. I am so glad and so happy that you spent some time with us. We would love to have either one of you to come back on the show so that we could spend some more time, because literally we had like 4 or 5 pages of questions, and we knew that your time was limited with us. So please, let's get on the schedule, and so we can kind of get in here and
let's come back and have a big long one.
Yeah, we'll come back and have a big long one with you. But definitely
play a bunch of music and all of that.
We would appreciate it. And since we're talking about this too, because I don't know if you are aware of this, but we have an online radio station. It's also an app too called Funked Up, and it plays funk music 24/7, including Platypus and a bunch of other like all old school funk and new school funk as well. And it's 24/7, and it's ASCAP licensed as well. Do we have your permission to put some Ozone tracks and good tracks on the show?
Definitely the new stuff.
Yes,
definitely the new stuff, because we got a lot of great songs on the new album that is hitting, and definitely if y'all can help us do y'all can be like our Frankie Crocker and our Jimmy B. Break that record, bust that record, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a couple questions here. Lenny wants to know any tour dates coming up.
Yes,
we're working on that now.
We got a couple things that's coming in that they're looking at trying to give us a residency here. I'm speaking to some people at the MGM here in Las Vegas right now. Tony Gladney and the bunch over there. Big shout out to you guys at MGM. But speaking to them, right now to go ahead and talk about bringing us the Ballers Walk tour up in there. As well as we got some stuff that's coming up in August that'll be there in California. August 6th is supposed to be the big Santa Ana Festival that's up in there. And we also got some things that's going to be coming down the pipe here this summer that, is going to be really exploding here at ZTV on the CW network. Far as, stuff that we're doing there. So it's a lot of great things that's happening right now.
And then Jeff and Chris are going to be calling us for some dates on that side of the world soon here.
See, this Atlanta people, they've been calling me up in Atlanta and over there at Shane and Park and then over there in Lithonia, and everyone else has been trying to get us to come back over there and kick, because I came up there in Atlanta with the Ballers bass players ball, with Ray Parker Jr.
Nice.
and Michael Henderson and George Johnson,
Mm.
and we get up there with Morris Day and the Time, and they've been begging to ask us to come on back down. So hopefully we can get some promoters in the city of Atlanta to bring us down there, for we can rock the house for you guys as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool venues. Stockbridge has got a really great venue, and Mableton's got some really cool venues. They do a lot of funk shows down in that area.
Yeah.
But it's we'll forgive you for leaving us.
Right?
We'll forgive you. We'll let you slide.
Well, we're gonna let you flag the next big thing. Y'all flagship the next big concert, and we come on down there with
come down there. Yeah.
We know how it works.
I know.
Yeah.
I know you know. Greg says, thank you for sharing all that history. And Pamela says, hey, a residency in Vegas would be cool. I bet you guys would be down for a residency in Vegas. Right?
Yeah, well,
yeah.
coming close. It's coming close. But we also have a situation that we're working on. Y'all, we're in Chunga, in San Bernardino County, heading out towards the casino there as well. So.
All right. Well, Again, we can't thank you enough. Everybody, please make sure you head to Spotify. They can check out the live album there on Spotify as well.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
And Ball is Walk. Ball is Walk. The new single.
And the balls. Oh, and we got a little shout out from John Wesley Payne. So the real Sir Knows. Love you guys, Charles. I did a show with y'all in Southern Cali with Diamond Ortiz, Charles Glenn.
Thank you, John, for recognizing the real situation, because there's people that really knows who they know all about who's the real nose.
They knows the nose.
How the nose blows when the nose goes. But there's some that can really tell you who the funk is all about. How it brings it in.
Well, gentlemen, I cannot thank you guys enough for taking some time out. I know there's a game on right now you guys got to get to, but yes, please be in touch with Jeff Page, and let's make sure we get you guys in the books for a long show that we can just kind of go all the way back. I want to dig deep into all this stuff with George. Charles, I want to dig deep into all this stuff with Ozone. You got some major stories, just incredible stories. I want to hear some more Tina Marie stories, all this stuff. And I definitely want to hear these Frank Sinatra stories. You got to say that.
Hey, Bill Cosby, all of them.
I don't need to hear those.
That's what I said. You don't even. I don't even want to say my Bill Cosby stories because everybody's all shocked and shit. I'm sitting there going, oh. They just now finding out.
A lot of people thought that. I was like, what? All right, then. Gentlemen, thank you guys.
When I first got to meet him, it was kind of like, wow, that's Bill. That's not the pit. That's not pudding pop guy right there.
Oh, but it is.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Gentlemen, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'll let you guys get on. But yes, please stay in touch with us. We got to have another show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, and I make sure you guys get new music emailed to you also, all right?
Perfect. And for those of you who have the Funked Up app installed on your phone, and gentlemen, you need to download it. It's called Funked Up, and it's one word, Funked Up. It's 24/7 funk radio station. Oh, Jeff Page, I think should we get a bumper from these guys?
Oh, hey.
Yeah. Yes.
A bumper for us.
Yeah, right. So we'll start with Rodney. You can say anything. You said this is Rodney Trotter with Ozone, or whoever you want to say you're with. Right now, you're with Ozone. Rodney Trotter, and you're listening to Funkatopia, and we'll make sure that we add it into a bumper on the radio station, so you'll hear yourself on rotation whenever you're ready.
Yes, this is Rodney Trotter, Sir Knows, lead singer of the group Ozone. You're listening to Funkatopia.com. Get on it, baby. Get with it.
Perfect. That's awesome. All right, Charles, you're up, brother. You ready?
Yep. Hey, what's up, world? Hey, you're listening to Jeff Page and Mr. Christopher on the Funkatopia radio station. That's Funkatopia.com. Make sure you be there. Nothing but funk, baby.
I almost interrupted you, but luckily I could fix it in post. Perfect. That's awesome. Thank you so much,
Did
guys.
I
Again,
said wrong?
no, that's fine.
You got it.
Yeah, all stuff. You'd be surprised. But
Yeah,
Bootsy Collins did one for. He sent me one. He was on the show and he wanted to say thank you. And he sent me this long one. It was so long. I was like, Bootsy, no, okay. I had to I turned it into like 3 different bumpers. It was so
Well, you know, Boosie, a special little brother. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
you know, that's Cincinnati boy right there.
Yeah, he's the man. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. I'll cut you loose and let you be. Thank you so much for your time. I can't thank you enough.
All right.
Man,
Peace,
appreciate you guys.
Thank you, guys. All right.
Peace.
All right.
All right, that is 2 legends right there, ladies and gentlemen. 2 legends.
legend. I mean, that's it. That's that's all of it right there.
Well, when they mentioned that they're all going to be hang for about an hour because of they have previous commitments and stuff, I was just like, all right, well, we got to figure out exactly how we're going to piece this up, because I know I've seen previous interviews with Charles where he just has so many stories. I mean, just
stories too. Yeah.
I mean, stories for days where he can literally talk for a couple hours and you can ask him one question and then just sit back and.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Rodney gets into the stories of the IP and knowledge as far as how to control. Because really, when it all comes down to it, who's got the intellectual property? And Rodney does. You know what I mean? who wrote it? Who's got the credits? And so it's been a long journey of conversation. A lot of rabbit holes.
And I've always wanted to do a show, and you're kind of to be real careful about whose toes you step on when you want to talk about doing a show about George Clinton and some of the IP stuff and some of the contractual things and all the people that feel cheated by him, because like most of the legends, James Brown, George Clinton, Prince. All of them have stories where people feel screwed by them,
right?
And really got their butt hurt,
and
in a lot of scenarios.
The truth is, there's no way to avoid that. Now, of course, there are some things that are more extreme than others, obviously, but when you're at a certain level, you come to terms with there's going to be a lot of unhappy people around you, just as much as they're going to be happy people around you. And you have to keep moving. When it all boils down at the end of the day, it's up to them to make it happen.
Right.
No one else is going to get, you can have all the credit, but nobody wants the blame. And the main guys are going to get that too. So, it's one of those things unavoidable, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, so awesome show. So much fun to have those guys on. And I really want to dig into some of the stories. I definitely want to dig into the stories about him hanging out with Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. and those guys. Give me a break. I gotta know what it's like to hang out with those guys, because it was just inner circle stuff right there.
Sammy Davis telling you we got to do something about your hair. That's killer to me.
Yeah, that coming from Sammy, who always had this, always kind of crazy, So I want to kind of recap what we were talking about earlier. We were talking about some of the some of the stuff with the news and things that we've got going on. A lot of people, you guys saw that we have a brand new radio show. I know you guys want to talk about the Prince celebration. We're not going to do that tonight. We're doing that on Saturday at 7:30. I'm going to touch on a couple little teeny pieces right now, but not this very second. But Saturday night, 7 p.m., the 28th here. So this Saturday coming up at 7 p.m., we're going to be here. That's going to be our last show before we take off. We're not doing a show next Tuesday. We didn't do a show last Tuesday because I think we're kind of in a pattern where we don't want to overkill you guys. But we did a show tonight because we had Rodney Trotter and Charles Glenn on, from Parliament Funkadelic and Ozone, respectively, and now both of them are Ozone. And we wanted to honor that time, so it was really, really fantastic to have them on. But we wanted to do a show on Saturday because I'm getting off course here. That's okay. Let me talk about the brand new show that we have first. The brand new show that we have first.
Reeling back in.
The brand new show, Funkatopia Soundstage. I don't know if you guys got an opportunity to listen to that yet, but it is on SoundCloud, it's on iHeartRadio, it's on Apple Music, it's on wherever you listen to podcasts. It's on Spotify, wherever you listen to. You can go to Spotify and search for Funkatopia Live, and you'll be able to hear this new episode of this brand new show. First episode called Funkatopia Soundstage, where we pull in a bunch of music, brand new music from some of it's brand new. I think on this particular episode, we did one song from 2019 that was like, where did this come from?
Right. But the majority of it will be brand new and artists that are doing things now, and they have releases. So,
Yes. Yeah. So we're doing it's a brand new show called Funkatopia Soundstage. We're handpicking a bunch of songs, and we're talking about them and reviewing them. Not reviewing them, not critiquing them, reviewing them.
Right.
We're playing them, kind of giving our thoughts on some of them, and hopefully we'll turn you on to some brand new music. It could be brand new music from artists that you like. We have a brand new song from Lettuce that we showcased on that episode. We have a brand new song from Sidibe, along with Mono Neon, that we done. Plus, we dug deep and found a song from Ed Sheeran from 2019 that was like,
where'd that come from?
What in the world? It's because this. If you're thinking about Ed Sheeran on the radio, this is not that.
Not that at all.
It's something totally different. That was like, this is who? If you played that song and you said, this is Ed Sheeran, and you gave me 100, if you played that song and said, who is this? And you gave me 100 guesses, I would never have guessed Ed Sheeran.
Right.
So on this first episode, we talked about my musical background as far as a performer, also how I was, some of the music I was listening to when I was raised, and so did Jeff Page. We talked about that some, and then we reviewed these 3 songs. In all the episodes moving forward, we will be doing just the reviews of the songs. So we'll do like about 5 or 6 songs per episode. The episodes will last about 30 minutes, and it's just sharing new music with you. And we're going to try to do this on a lot regular basis. Sorry, go ahead.
We're not going to keep talking about us because we know they'll get old really quick.
So that was the first episode. The first episode, I did go into my background, talking about the phases of music that I went through, and Jeff Page did a little bit of the same, not quite as much detail as I did. And then we reviewed a few songs. But moving forward, we're going to be doing some really cool shows. And what's good about these shows is that they will be, we're still working through some kinks. We're working through some audio kinks, because that was the first show I did it with the camera, with the microphone on the camera, as opposed to this one here. And that's just that the quality in this audio is just not fantastic, but
get it ironed out though.
We're going to get some of the sound stuff ironed out, but it's going to be great. You're going to like it. Again, episode 1 is out there right now. Funkatopia Live. Go to Spotify and search for Funkatopia Live. You will find it there. Episode 1. You can also find, you can also find it on iHeartRadio and SoundCloud and Apple Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. So
and again, it's called Funkatopia Soundstage.
It's called Funkatopia Soundstage, but it's on the Funkatopia Live channel.
So don't get mixed up.
And we did record video. We did record video for this, but when we went to post the video, YouTube immediately shut it down because of the fact that we're playing copyrighted music. But the video does fall under fair use. If you're reviewing / critiquing or doing anything like that, and you don't play the whole entire song, you only play a portion of the song, you are allowed to do that according to YouTube rules. But if YouTube's algorithm hears the music, it just shuts you off right out of the gate. So the video may pop up on YouTube as well, but right out of the gate, we're putting it out on SoundCloud because all those channels are okay with what we're doing, so they're fine. But YouTube and Facebook are having issues, and eventually we'll have videos on this, but whatever. Again, this Saturday, the 28th, will be the last show that we do before Jeff Page and I get on a flight to go to Minneapolis. Jeff Page, your first time in Minneapolis. Are you excited? You psyched out? You like crazy?
Oh, pumped. I'm ready. I'm good. I'm already packed. I've unpacked.
Not packed.
I mean, I'm good.
Actually, I was thinking about packing some of my stuff because I actually have. I was like, "Oh, Dolly, thank you so much." I could technically pack. And because the stuff that I'm going to be wearing in Minneapolis is not the stuff I normally wear. So I mean, yeah, I've got like the way you're dressed now, I consider that dressed up, kind of special. You know?
I'll be in the same clothes. I'm sorry, guys. Nothing's.
Yeah. I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. It's.
I will be picking up a hat. I'm telling you, Chris. I'm gonna find the hat while I'm out there. That's the only extra thing that's not gonna be typical of what I have.
Didn't you tell me you were arranged to meet with somebody who was a hat person, or was that? Am I like cross-pollinating stories?
I'm gonna go Vanessa Bartholomew, their group. I'm gonna check out their hats and.
Are you doing that in Minneapolis?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm going out there, and I'm gonna be like, at least she can measure this big head, this dome of mine, and figure out how to make a hat look good under a bunch of hair. And if maybe I won't have it when I go home. Maybe it'll get made and then shipped to me. Whatever it takes. But I have to have one from Minneapolis.
All right. So yeah. So we got a lot of stuff going on, obviously. But this Saturday we're doing one more show before we leave. We were going to do a show on Tuesday,
right,
the 31st, which is the day right before we leave. We're actually getting on a plane from Atlanta around noon on the 1st, and to come to Minneapolis. And but
yeah,
we didn't want to stay up late the night before we have to get on a flight, and sometimes the shows run a little bit long. So we moved it to Saturday. And one of the reasons why we moved it to Saturday was because of the fact that apparently Paisley Park is going to be releasing some information on this Friday,
right,
via anybody who's registered or has tickets. If you have tickets to Celebration, Paisley Park is supposed to be releasing some type of independent schedules or individual schedules this Friday.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to do it on Sunday. There was something. What was going on Sunday? You couldn't do the show on Friday. We didn't want to do it on Tuesday. There was something going on Sunday. Oh, my wife wanted to spend some time with me on Sunday since I was going to be leaving for a week.
That's the thing.
That was the thing. And I can't remember what was going on Monday. There was something else going on Monday. Anyways, Saturday ended up being the day. I think Monday was available, but we just said Saturday. Screw it, Saturday. So Saturday at 7 p.m., we are going to be doing a full-blown Celebration explosion. We are going to be sharing with you everything that we know about the Celebration. Now, we're not going to go into crazy lots of detail as far as the after, all the stuff that's going on outside of Paisley Park. But we're going to be sharing with you some of the details we know about the schedule for those of you who have never been to Paisley Park before, who have never been to Minneapolis or Chanhassen or St. Paul or any of those areas. Kind of going to give you some travel tips. Any questions that you have, we're going to be talking about what we know, some of the new information that's kind of being dropped, including the information that was just dropped today via email that we have I don't know why you're not getting these emails.
Oh, actually, I do. I am getting them. I did get the email. I found it.
Okay. All right. So today they released an email. I don't have that picture up.
Today? Maybe I'm not getting them.
Let me see if I've got this up. Hold on a second. I'm gonna I'm pretty sure it was
Today?
no, it wasn't today.
Oh, okay.
It was whenever I sent you the message. Was it yesterday?
When you did, yeah. Yeah, I didn't get that one.
All right, so apparently,
Apparently they don't like me.
yeah, who knows? That could be a thing. Paisley Park sent out an email saying that everybody who attends the celebration is getting an exclusive 7-inch clear vinyl album. I can't remember what was. Let me see if I was going to pull up the picture, but I don't know if I've like.
Yeah, I've got that. It is.
Yeah, so it is this clear vinyl.
There it is.
That's the picture of it. But everybody that attends the thing is getting this clear vinyl for attending. That's both VIP and general admission. They're getting this clear vinyl. That's an exclusive. I don't know. They did indicate on the email what it was, what's on it, but for whatever reason, I can't find this email now. But so we're going to be talking about the details of that, and also some of the schedules and everything. Pamela, I saw you brought up this thing that Jelly Bean and Eddie M are doing a meet and greet rehearsal thing on Sunday, June 5th at the Legacy Building. So this is happening too. So we will be talking about it. But on June 5th, that Sunday night, we are going to be. Where are we going to be? Okay, but it's all running together now. I know.
We're not supposed to talk until Saturday.
We're not going to talk until Saturday. We'll tell you where we're going to be on Sunday. I can tell you it won't be there. But not because we wouldn't want to be there. It's just because we can't be two places at once.
Right.
So we're going to tell you where we're going to be each one of those nights. I think Jeff Page and myself will get together and kind of decide. Here's where we're going to be on each one of these nights to kind of give you an idea where we're going to be, not just, and obviously some of this revolves around the schedule that Paisley Park releases. Because for those who have not been to a celebration before, what Paisley Park typically does is they normally break everybody apart into groups. I've been there before where it's been a group A and a group B, and I've been there before where it's been group A, group B, and group C. Right. And then what ends up happening is that you have one group that's listening to a panel and another group that's listening to another panel, and then you guys swap and converge and go to different things. And I remember when Jesse Johnson was there a couple celebrations ago, or a few celebrations ago. I knew that he was not like Prince's concerts. I knew it wasn't going to be the same. So I stayed for his interview that he did. And then I was supposed to shift over to another panel to go see them talk about shoes or something it was. I was like, I'm not going to do that. I stayed at the Jesse Johnson panel, and for the second panel that he did. And it was like listening to an entire different thing because I knew it was going to be different. So there's going to be a lot of that stuff going on, and we're going to let you know. Pamela, you might be right.
Right.
We're going to tell you everything. We're going to tell you where we're going to be and best ways to handle it and all that. So
make sure you tune in. Make sure you come out there and on Saturday at 7:00. And join us and get all the dirt. Yes. At least the dirt that we can share still.
Yeah. So hopefully by that time, by next Saturday, this Saturday coming up, I cannot believe we were in 1 week. We will be on a plane.
Yep. And 1 week on the plane.
1 week and 12 hours or whatever it is, something like that.
Potato.
Technical about it.
Yep. I'm ready.
Yeah. So, oh yeah.
Let's
I meant to tell you. Yeah. One more thing. One more final thing. Um, Pamela, I see you putting up that document there. Pamela on Facebook is sharing a document. This won't be clickable when I show it, but there is a document that's out there. I wanted to let everybody know that I have started migrating all of those events from that document, all those events, into the princecelebration.com website. That's right. You heard it here. I started doing it. Matter of fact, I'm all the way up to June 2nd, and I think all of the celebration stuff, all the celebration stuff is already there. So if you want a document that is, no offense to that document, but if you want something that is a little bit more mobile, that's going to be easy to carry around and easy to view, first off, you on princecelebration.com, you have this map, this very, very cool map that you can actually zoom in on, and you can actually click on the individual Prince icons all throughout Minneapolis to see all kinds, where all the murals are, where the statues are, where the all the places of interest are, including the Purple Rain House, all that stuff. All that stuff is on princecelebration.com. And if you click on the events link, the events right here, you can actually scroll through all the events.
Right.
And you can see all the events in chronological order for that day. Obviously, this is May, so yes, all the May stuff is in there. But all, June is in there. I think I'm up to June 2nd. But anything that you would like to go to, you simply just click on it. It opens up and it gives you the document for it. It gives you the information for the map. It gives you everything is in that app. That's not an app. It's a website. But if you visit the website on a desktop computer, it kind of looks kind of plain, but the reasoning for that is so that we can make it very usable on a mobile device. We wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to fall apart or be weird, scrolling this, that, and the other. Again, everything for May is in there. Everything for June 1st, 2nd, and I think up to the 3rd, I think is done. But I'm going to be putting the rest of those events in there from that document. So that document will be in basically in that web format before we do our Saturday show. That's for sure.
Right. And we'll mention it again on Saturday too. And yeah, awesome stuff. Love it.
Pamela said, a totally different subject. Sorry, going back here, but I saw you guys at the Sheila E. and Morris Day gig in Stockbridge. Don't know if you talked about it already, but what was up with people walking out when MD and the Time were performing? Yeah, we did talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what to add. Listen, it was a great show. Midnight Star was on fire. All the original members from the 70s on fire, just killing it.
It really did.
Sheila E. is always on fire.
Always.
Sheila E. is always on fire. Even if there's 20 people in a room, Sheila E. is going to put on a show like there's 2,000. That's just the way that she is. That's just the way that her shows are.
Yeah.
With Morris Day at the Time, the music was fantastic.
Music was great. Like they had it nailed. Like I said before, if you closed your eyes, you were there. It was everything that you know the time to be.
And we don't know exactly what. To answer your question, we're not exactly sure what was going on, but for whatever reason, the crowd was not feeling it.
Yeah.
And Tori, who's a good friend of mine who plays guitar in Jesse Johnson's stead, and has for many, many years, decades now. Even he had to get on the mic and go, "Why is everybody sitting down? What's going on?" There was an energy that was
Missing energy for sure.
There was a lot of energy missing, and we all know that everybody in the band is getting up in age. We totally get that, but
yeah. We also mentioned that we kind of suspect that there might have been an injury involved too, because it kind of at the one point where Morris Day slipped and just wasn't really moving like him to move, and everything was just kind of like very restricted. I guess is the word. I don't know what the word is, but
I
we don't know.
it's not every show can be a stellar show, but I feel like it was a good show, but there was this weird thing. I mean, they didn't play Jungle Love.
Well,
Was it Jungle Love or The Bird? Which one of the two? I think it was Jungle Love they didn't play.
yeah,
Yeah, that's right. It was Jungle Love they didn't play. So there was no encores. There was no. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't think it necessarily had to do necessarily with Morris Day and the time as much as that crowd was just.
right. That's very popular. Yeah.
I think that was a tough crowd. I think they were just really, really.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably true too. Because, I mean, and that's a part of the business. It happens.
It is what it is. I mean,
Time.
you got to continue.
We had a blast. So there it is.
Yeah. Family said they skipped Jungle Love. If the crowd would have stayed for an encore, they probably would have come back out. Yep, you're right. They would have.
I think so.
But I was actually surprised, because they have like a handful of hits, and you would think if you're a crowd and you only know certain hits, it's like, you're not leaving until they play those songs. I don't, I even if it takes me an hour to get out of this parking lot, I'm not leaving until we hear those songs. And
Right.
They were just like, all right, maybe next time. And they were just like, as soon as that last song was over, they just all started just migrating towards the exit. I was like, yeah. It was like, okay, I don't want that. This crowd is nasty. This crowd ain't feeling this shit at all. I don't know what's happening. But anyways, I don't know what happened. I'll talk to Jelly Bean about it later. I'm sure he'll have some candid stuff to say off camera. But yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Go see, if you have an opportunity to see Morris Day at the time, go see him. See him. Especially if you've never seen him before. It's still a great show. But
All the songs you know.
yep. All the songs you know.
Well, this was a great man, but I'm done. I don't want to talk to you guys anymore.
We're gonna be Morris Day's crowd right now.
Yeah.
Listen, Saturday at 7:30. I'm saying 7:30 now. Don't show up late now. Don't you show up late now.
You show up late.
Yeah. This Saturday, the 28th. Put it on your calendar. 7 p.m. You need to be right here, and we'll do it early. We normally do a show at 8. I know tonight we did it at 9, but that was because of Jaden's birthday. My daughter's Jaden's birthday was today, so we were out doing dinner, and I didn't want to cancel the show, but I didn't want to rush her birthday either. So this Saturday, 7 p.m., be here. If you're planning on going to Minneapolis, you need to be on the show. You need to watch the show. You need to be here Saturday. I'm telling you, we're going to cover everything, and whatever questions that you have, that's perfectly fine. I know you guys got a bunch of questions. We'll be sure to answer them Saturday at 7.
Man.
I think they got the time and the date marked down.
What time was that? 7.
Saturday. Okay.
7. What time was it? Saturday. Okay. 7.
All right, everybody. Good night. I hope you guys had a great time. Please make sure that you are here for the amazing, incredible, one and only celebration. Oh, I love this graphic that I created, dude. I didn't miss. It's like freaking awesome. This is the one that I created.
Okay. That's good stuff. I like it.
It took forever to cut out that background, dude. It was like a nightmare. All right. We're going to see you guys 7 Saturday. Good night, everyone. Have a good one. See you later.
Good night.
Bye. I think we should play some music on the way out or something. I don't know. Whatever. Good night.